Hi, my name is Elliot, co-founder of Mnemonic, where we create advanced customer intelligence with AI. Today, I'm talking a little more about sales personas, how they are created, how they are used, and why they are so important. Sales personas, usually described as fictional representations of your customer or prospect segments, are typically mentioned in the marketing context. However, they can be used to improve every business area, from product development, customer service, human resources, and especially sales. Sales personas help in every aspect of your sales process, from creating and defining the overall sales strategy, choosing the right representatives, educating them about your customer base, and evaluating the proper channels of communication, to tailoring your messaging to the exact needs, preferences, motivations of your target audiences. But first, here's a quick rundown on how to create sales personas. We will just touch on this since there is a full video on creating buyer personas. So if you're interested, just check it out. You'll find it in our channel. So sales personas should always be 100% data-driven, rather than based on gut feeling, assumptions, or the seniority level of your organization. Therefore, the words fictional representation is kind of misleading. Fiction is something you make up in your head, describing imaginary events or people, which does not fit the concept of personas. Especially nowadays, we have access to so many data sources that there is no need for fiction anymore. By analyzing data sources from social media, reviews, interviews, blogs, or surveys, personas will represent the actual customer rather than something imaginary. Of course, a persona profile is not a real person, but combines common facts of a customer segment in one profile. In general, acknowledge that there is more than one persona with different needs, perceptions, etc. for your product or service. Moreover, there are even already different personas for one segment within the customer journey. The information required in the awareness stage might differ drastically from the one needed in the purchase stage. I want to highlight one important aspect, which is that departments need to collaborate when creating and using personas. Personas are useful for every department, and in reverse, these departments need to provide helpful information to create, enrich, or update the personas over time. Accordingly, it is critical to see sales personas creation, or the persona creation in general, as a holistic process within the organization. When putting the personas to work, the departments must communicate. Sales needs to understand the marketing messages and offers used for the different personas to create a smooth customer experience and journey. Nothing is more frustrating than falling in love with the product because of a marketing message, and then realizing it was not more than a cheap bait, which has nothing to do with reality. The same applies to the collaboration between sales and customer service, where the departments need to find common ground between the offers and the actual possibilities later on. So now let's talk about the information that the personas should display. The key to closing a sale is to provide the correct information at the right time. Customers have different drivers and purchase intentions, and understanding them is fundamental. The personas should provide a clear understanding on the needs, intentions, pain points, drivers, emotions, and personality to allow the sales representative to create a tailored, personalized sales strategy. First, let us focus on the customer cluster sizes. Resources are limited, so it is critical to identify the customer segments with the highest potential. To create personalization, segmentation is vital. How you segment your leads depends highly on the sales department structure itself and overall business setup. However, there is always room for improvement, and challenging existing systems and concepts is always a good idea. The second piece of information are the product specifications. Customer segment choose products for different reasons or features. Specific attributes may be fundamental to one segment, whereas others find it completely irrelevant. Therefore, features, preferences are often one of the most logical ways to segment your customer base. Content creation for marketing or email segmentation focusing on the different feature requests is highly successful and shows high click-through and conversion rates. Why? Because simply you provide information that the persona or customer segment is actually interested in. Highlighting these so-called go-to features in your sales pitch is, in the beginning, hooks the customer and the prospect and grabs their attention right away. The concept of the best comes last is outdated. On average, we are getting bombarded with over 3,000 marketing messages daily. So getting to the point as soon as possible in a sales pitch is vital. Not only are proprietary features critical, but also those of your competitors. Sales should collect information about missing requested features during the sales dialogue and pass that information on to build product development personas. Conversely, creating and using competitor personas for your sales strategy could be extremely powerful. You can highlight features that the competitor is missing and make prospects aware of negative aspects of the competitor products. So now we're moving to purchase barriers. And another critical piece of information in the sales persona profiles are the purchase barriers. They are the final hurdle to overcome when selling the product, since they prevent the prospect from purchasing it. The goal is to decrease or ideally break down these barriers entirely. Different personas have different barriers, and highlighting them helps the respective teams to prepare for each scenario. We will only scratch the surface of purchase barriers here, since there will be an entire article on this topic separately. In summary, soft, medium, hard, and psychological barriers exist. So soft barriers include, for instance, physical availability barriers. It is hard to find product X from brand Y on the website or location Z. Then there are mental availability barriers, like I never thought about brand X when I purchased category Y. And then there are product educational barriers. I try to understand, but I have no idea what brand X or product Y does. Then there are doubt barriers. I am so uncertain if brand X is the right fit for me. But they are quite easy to overcome if you provide the right information. Then there are medium purchasing barriers, which could also sometimes be soft or hard depending on the context. So like price barriers. I really like brand X, but it is out of my budget at the moment. An example where price could only be a soft barrier could be a statement like, I thoroughly shop my category X on sale. Unfortunately, brand Y never offers sales discount. Well, that barrier could easily be overcome when a sales period or discount is introduced. Then there are habitual barriers. I have had the same habit for years that I am buying brand X. And finally, there are hard purchasing barriers, like brand perception barrier. I would never use brand X since they support Y. Or, I would never want to be associated with somebody using brand Y. Then there are brand loyalty barriers. I am 100% loyal to brand X and would never switch to brand Y no matter what they offer. Last but not least, psychological barriers. We will just name them here because this is a very complex topic and deserves an own video. But psychological barriers include skepticism barriers, cynicism barriers, and procrastination barriers, and the price barrier in this context as well. So, including purchase barriers in the sales persona helps identify target audiences that are likely to convert, because they only hold back due to soft barriers. They also help structure the sales teams. The more experienced sales representatives should tackle medium and hard barriers, whereas junior sales professionals will likely overcome soft barriers. Motivation and a sense of achievement is essential for aspiring salespeople, so allocation is critical. The next information piece is understanding customers' personalities and emotion to influence subconscious decision making. According to Harvard professor Gerald Saltman, 95% of all purchasing decisions are made subconsciously. Understanding prospective buyer emotions and personality traits is critical for closing the sale. There is a full video on the importance of psychographics in marketing and sales, so also feel free to check that out. We'll now just touch on the different aspects of personalities and emotions when selling. So personality traits, they are hardwired in our brains. They define how we perceive other humans, offer sales and marketing messages. The personality insights help to structure the entire sales process, from choosing the right team members to tailoring the outreach and messaging to the right segments at the right time. Nowadays, personality traits can be defined by analyzing a short message or an email by a prospective customer through AI, so it is way easier than you think. Regarding emotions, we are all being directed by our emotions. Therefore, they also play an essential role in the decision-making process. Understanding the context of your customer's emotions regarding your industry or product will positively influence how you position yourself and the sales pitch. It will allow you to sympathize with this customer segment and grab them on a subliminal level. So I just outlined which information sales personas should contain to be helpful. Creating personas based on actual data and facts allows sales to align messages and approaches with audiences' needs, interests, preferences, and personalities. Ultimately, this alignment will improve the overall sales process and might make the difference between a successful company and one that fails. So here are a few examples on how that information will help create a better sales strategy and process. Like choosing the right staff and building strong teams. I already highlighted the power of personality alignment in the psychological barrier part. But having a clear customer understanding and building matching teams around them means true customer centricity. Imagine one of your targeting segment is between 25 and 35 years old. It probably makes sense to create a sales team that speaks their language, shares the same lifestyle, and ideally has matching personality traits to connect with those leads on every level. One last word to the power of personality traits. Yes, personality traits in the sales persona profiles is powerful. However, using personality assessment and alignment on an individual level is the highest possibility of personalization. Once you analyze your lead's personality, they can be matched with a sales representative with fitting personality traits and understanding precisely what to say, how to present the solution, and what to avoid when communicating. The next advantage is that you are able to lower customer churn rates. Surely you've heard before that finding new customers is way more expensive than maintaining existing ones. Customer journey personas, which reflect the needs, pain points, preferences within an individual journey or step, helps the salesperson to provide the exact information at the right time. Accordingly, when clients consider contract termination, these insights are crucial to preventing them from canceling. It could be simply the right words or a small incentive like additional features, discounts, or benefits. So another advantage is choosing the right sales channels. Implementing a customer-centric approach means a precise alignment between marketing and sales communication. Personas will help pick the suitable marketing medium and guide how to communicate further down the journey. Personality traits especially contain crucial information on communicating with the respective sales personas. So some customer segments appreciate a direct call, whereas others would feel harassed. The next advantage is understanding your target audience's background, needs, and triggers. We already demonstrated how sales personas provide a granular understanding of the customer base. Well, at the end it's their entire purpose, right? But 90% of organizations claim that they created a better customer understanding through personas. And 82% of organizations claim that they improved their value proposition by implementing personas. So last but not least, it's about tailoring messaging and outreach to the right people at the right time. The most valuable part of sales personas is the go-to section, which contains the critical product specifications and features. No matter how good you write, if the content is irrelevant for the targeted audience, they will not convert. Well-defined personas, profiles, will tell you how to communicate with the audience and what information they need at what stage in the sales cycle. For instance, are they more likely to convert when receiving transformational ads, or do they prefer informational ads? These adjustments could range from targeted demos to product guides, infographics, and much more. And then you have the elaboration on the USPs compared to your competitors. Prospects usually always consider different options during the sales cycle. The personas dissect the different USPs for the different target audiences in a consumable way. Hence, marketers and sales professionals understand exactly what and when to highlight during the customer journey. As mentioned previously, competitor personas are vital to compare your USPs to missing features of the competition. So, some final remarks. Sales becomes more challenging by the day due to rising competition and the vast amount of marketing and sales messages we get bombarded with daily. The only way we can distinguish ourselves from the competition is to put the customer at the organization's center. To do so, a clear understanding of the customer segments is the critical foundation. This is why sales personas or customer personas in general are such a great tool to transport this information throughout the company. So, as usual, thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down in the comments. If you like the video, I would appreciate a like or a share. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us at mnemonic.ai, and I'm really looking forward to talk to you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.